Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we have the opportunity to see one of my friend's greenhouses. He's an orchid grower as well, and I've actually learned so much from him. He actually knows way more than I do. If I ever have any questions, he's the guy I come to. And I just wanted to, he's agreed to let us have a peek inside his greenhouse here. And yeah, so I wanted to show you some stuff like this and all kinds of other things, all kinds of other orchids, and there's probably a few carnivorous plants in there. So why don't we take this guy back in the greenhouse, because it's a little chilly out here, and go see what's going on in here. All right, so here we are in the greenhouse. I'm here with Brian.
Hello, everybody.
And yeah, we'll just kind of give a greenhouse tour. I guess this is going to be April's greenhouse tour in case I don't get around to giving one in my own greenhouse. And why don't we just sort of have a look around and see what we can find here. He has many, probably hundreds more orchids than I do. So if you guys think I have a lot of orchids, he is way beyond me here, guys. So I see right off here's a cool Valia in bloom. What's this?
This is a Valia hybrid. One of its parents is Valia chaparensis, so you can see the spotting coming through in that. It's turning out to be fairly floriferous. I picked this out from a rather large tray of seedlings at one of the big nurseries and thought this one might be special. I'm going to grow it up and see if we can get an award on it.
Cool, looks good. What else do we have here? So many orchids to view. You know, we're not going to see them all here, guys. There is another nice Valia. Tell me about this one.
That is Valia Coccinea, Dwarf Pink. It's got an HCC from the AOS, a highly commended certificate. It's a very small plant for a Coccinea, only growing to about 6 inches tall. Flowers are only probably at the 10 to 11 inch tall mark on the inflorescence. Most of the Coccineas will have leaves taller than that, and the inflorescence will come out well above. So it's an interesting plant just for its diminutive size.
Cool. And while you're looking at that one, I was up here looking at this guy here. We have some little tiny miniature flowers. What is this?
That one has been sold as Pleurathalis aculeata. There's a very large complex of Pleurathalis with similar traits from Central and South America. And people are having a bit of trouble determining where one stops and another starts. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it's not actually aculeata. What it really is, not too sure yet.
All right, let's see if I can get one more close shot of that. Lean the camera in. It's a very tiny little flower here, guys.
Those plants have been flowering continually for about 4 years for me.
Cool. Let's carry on and see what else we can find. All right, so why don't we cross over, and we're going to go into more of the warm growing side. And I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but although I was thinking about a warm and cool side of my greenhouse for a long time, I robbed his idea here once I saw it. It just worked so perfectly. So we're just going to step over here and see what's growing in the warm side. While we're moving over here, what are the temperature differences between the cool and the warm side for your greenhouse?
Being that I grow mostly cool growing plants, the cool section of my greenhouse is heated to about 7 degrees Celsius nighttime temperature. I try and make sure that the warmer section stays at least in the realm of about 10 to 12 at night. Definitely not toasty warm like a lot of people would keep it.
Okay, so you're a little bit cooler than my greenhouse, even on the warm side.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise the camera up here. I discovered this guy just above my head, and it looks like we're looking at a Cattleya species of some sort, or hybrid. What's this?
This is a hybrid. This is Potonera Memoria Harry Johnson. This was a plant that was hybridized by a friend of ours in the Orchid Society, and we have a few plants left of it. It's a primary, one of its parents is Laelia anceps, and the other is a big, white, frilly, more complex hybrid.
Okay.
And it's come out, I've got about 7 different clones, and they're all a little different, ranging from white to pink. That one has just been repotted, and the flowers are pretty small on it this year.
Yeah. And you're using the hydro balls, it looks like, in there?
Yeah.
They're working good for you?
They seem to be it's more of an experiment right now.
Exactly. I get a lot of questions about these, but have never bothered with them myself.
I've found that they can be really useful for growing larger angraecoid orchids. They really hate repotting, and I find putting them into those and being able to leave them for many, many years really helpful.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think everybody's trying to find ways to leave their plants in the pots without repotting for longer periods.
Yes.
What else? Here is one of my favorites. Now I have one of these at home, but I'll let you talk about yours here. It looks better than mine.
I'm surprised. Your orchids always look so nice. That is now Prostechia cochleata, formerly Encyclia cochleata, and before that Epidendron cochleatum. The taxonomists like to move things around a little bit. This is known as the cockleshell or squid orchid.
Exactly. Now that's what I call it. Cockleshell is, this is my cockleshell orchid is what I say.
Really nice plants. Once they get going, you can have them flowering on an inflorescence for over a year, so they will be in flower almost continually, which is really nice.
Yeah, it looks good. We're going to go up really high now, and hopefully the backlight is not too bad on this guy. What are we looking at?
That is Phaeus Microburst Oktoberfest. It's a really interesting hybrid Phaeus. Grows very nicely. I've got a number of friends who grow it as well. I've even seen people growing it on windowsills beautifully. Just an interesting plant. Tends to flower every spring for me. Puts up a nice spray of flowers.
Nice. And we're up to the plant that I was holding when I did my intro there. And it's looking very good hanging up there. So why don't we talk about this one a little bit? It just looks gorgeous right now. How many blooms are on that? I
didn't bother to count, but there's a number of them on there. It's a fairly big plant. That is a cross between Brassicatlia maikai and Brassicatlia morning glory. You can see both of them fairly clearly in there. Nice big open flowers, nice color. I tend to find that in a bit cooler temperatures, the color's a little more intense. If you're growing it a little bit warmer, the color tends to be a slightly lighter pink, but still really pleasing.
Nice. I'm just trying to get away from the backlighting here to give you guys a nice shot of it. It's just simply beautiful. Hopefully that shows up. The camera's quite far above my head. While we're on this, sort of quite far up above my head, how big is your greenhouse?
Greenhouse is 12 by 16 roughly. And I believe it's about 11.5 feet at the peak.
Wow. There's so many nooks and crannies in here, guys. We'll never ever see it all, I'm afraid. But I see some things that I have, other things that I certainly don't have. And nice hanging walls. Go figure where I got the hanging walls idea from too, I guess, right? So let's move back out of here and head around. Now, for all you Dracula lovers, this next little bit is going to be cool. Alright, so we're going into Dracula territory here. He has them all in the same sort of pots, the little 3 or 4 inch net pots. There's one just coming out in bloom there. Looks like maybe a Polyphemus, but I could be wrong. I see a nice one out in bloom right here. Looks like a dozen or so little flowers on it. What is this Dracula orchid?
That is Dracula Benedictii Connie. And
there it is.
It's got cute little faces.
There's the monkey face, guys. Super cute. This is a nice new shelf. I don't think I've seen this shelf since I was last in here.
Yeah, I decided I was having a bit of trouble fitting all of my smaller plants in nicely, getting them sort of organized. So I decided to build a couple of A-frame benches with a hanging wall.
It's an A-frame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, on the other side is an A-frame.
The other side is a slant.
This is a slant, and then this is a wall.
Yeah.
Very cool. And the next one is a nice A-frame too. We'll talk about that in a sec, but this little dendrobium here has caught my eye. Super cute.
That's Dendrobium dicyoides, variety dicyoides. Unlike the more typical one that we would see just below it there, which is more rambling in habit, it's a very compact growing plant.
Right, it definitely is. Looks good. Really good. And now it looks like a whole bunch of Restripias on this rack that I just love.
Yes, I
What do we got here?
learned after building the rack that I have a lot of Restripias because I finally put them all together.
I know, it's just, there's tons. So Restripias, they are, they remind me of insects almost, the way the flowers are shaped. I see one down here.
Some old.
Is that one just fading?
That
or-
one's fading.
Let's see, here's another one, but that one, we might have just missed the boat on the Restripias here. There's another one. I've been working in my pond and I have pond foam all over my hands. Oh well, we can, if we come across a Restripia, we will talk again about it. Ooh, but look at this guy that I just found up here. Let's see if I can get a shot up. Nope, I'm gonna have to lift the camera. Now this is a nice Valia. What do we have here, Brian?
That is Valia ignea. That clone is Jerry Suffolk. Was interesting. Jerry was a good friend of mine, and he lost his Valia collection years ago. I was visiting another good friend in Ontario and happened to find this plant that Jerry had sent him many, many years ago, and it was still alive and going, and now I've got a piece of it here.
Cool. And here's sort of a look at the A-frame bench, just from the end there. So every little rack is a little bit further up than the next, so the plants don't drip on each other, and better lighting, I would assume.
Better lighting and good airflow.
Airflow as well, yeah, exactly. Lots of Masdevallias here. Again, we're on the cool side of the greenhouse, which, just like my greenhouse, the cool side takes up a lot more space than the warm side. Another nice one there.
That's another ignea.
And then right above it is, the color's not quite poppy on camera like I can see it here, but tell me about this Masdevallia.
That's one of the yellow forms of Masdevallia infracta.
Oh, nice. And this one looked like it was awesome. It's kind of
It's finishing up now.
it's just finishing.
Masdevallia violet gem.
Sorry guys, I'm overwhelmed here by all the Masdevallias. I'm just sort of getting a look at them all myself. And what is this one here?
And there's a Coccinea, one of the smaller forms again. Still a little bit taller than dwarf pink.
Moving further down the aisle. Beautiful orange Masdevallias are out here. Look at the size of that one. What am I looking at here?
That is Masdevallia Monarch crossed onto Masdevallia Jerry Sedenko. It's interesting, Monarch is very dominant in the color and shape of that one. I've seen others of the same hybrid that were a little bit more like Jerry Sedenko, which is a Decumana hybrid, has more spreading petals and spots. So it was quite interesting to see all the variety that came out of it.
Cool, yeah, it's awesome and big too.
Yeah.
I love the size of it. All right, let's keep spinning around. I never know what I'm going to find as I move the camera around here. Let's zoom me back out. So, oops, it looks like I can see maybe a Kingianum back here. Dendrobium kingianum? That looks too big for Kingianum.
It would be one of the other stenocorine hybrids, so Kingianum will be one of the main parents in that.
Yeah, lots of buds on that one.
It's nice because it's a lot later than many of the others.
Yeah. So let's just go down the last bench here and see what else we can see. So many orchids. So how do you water all these orchids?
I tend to go through with a hose connected to a sump pump, and can just make sure that I keep my water at a good temperature in a bucket in the greenhouse, a big garbage can, and go through and make sure that everything gets watered. One of the really important things is making sure that the water is pouring through the bottom of the pot, you know, not just giving them a light misting or anything like that. You want to make sure that they're really getting well saturated every time you water.
Yeah, totally. I see a huge Lycasd back there. I was just looking at it, and what kind of Lycasd is that?
That is Lycasd, Yoko's sister. Winter Sun is the clonal name on that one. It is a primary hybrid of of the yellow Lycastes. Tends to be quite a reliable bloomer. It's finishing up now, but most people, even growing it in the house, have said that they can get it to flower really well every year, and sometimes even multiple times a year.
Nice. Looks really good. I think we'll just finish up. I was looking up here. It looks like we have one Disa orchid about to bloom and some others growing nicely.
Getting ready, yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Too bad that wasn't in bloom. And we'll pan up. I did promise a few Nepenthes. So looks like we have a Miranda there. Doing quite nice.
I'm very pleased with it.
And a few others up there as well. And a couple little seedlings there that look very familiar to me.
As should the Miranda.
So anyways, guys, there is a quick greenhouse tour of Brian's greenhouse. So many orchids. How many orchids would you say you have in here?
Give or take around 2,000.
There you go. So I have about 700 plants altogether in my greenhouse. He has about 2,000 plants in his greenhouse. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this quick tour. There's just simply no way we can hit it all unless we turn this into an hour-long program, which we're not going to do. So if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. As always, thanks for watching, and Brian, thanks for having us today.
Thank you very much for visiting.